Hey, Coach Harris. I just wanted to, since the last time we spoke, you were on a field trip and you're always very busy, and it's very difficult to speak to you. I wanted to do this video to explain how we can increase attendance and enrollment and technology literacy and behavioral modification, because you don't have your time is very short. So what we're doing is mixing entrepreneurship with STEM. And it's called eSTEM, where we teach kids to make new technology and be the CEO of their own company. We tell them we're teaching them to make a money machine. So we can install it as a STEM lab class during the day, an after-school program, and a summer camp. And some of the things that we'll go through, some of the takeaways is engineering, coding, and innovation, entrepreneurship, obviously, intrinsic-based stock investment like Warren Buffett. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. He's the greatest value investor in the history of the stock market. Marketing and advertising. The kids have to make the product, they have to discover the value, and they have to be able to sell it. C-suite exploration, CEO, CFO, CTO, right? Go-to-market strategy, and that's very important. Behavioral modification, and this is what really differentiates the formula from other entrepreneurial curriculum out there that are just basically trying to teach the kids how to come up with an idea for a product and sell it. What we do differently is that we tell the kids, which is the truth, that not only are you going to come up with some new idea for some new product like the light bulb or the wheel, right? We're going to give you these engineering tools that I'll show you in a moment to do that. But that same tool, that same logic statement is what it's called. It's using computer coding. We're going to use that to teach you how to reinvent yourself. And because you also, in addition to the product you're selling, the product you're going to invent or engineer, you are going to bring yourself to market as a product in a package deal with the product that you're selling. As an example, when you and I speak, I'm bringing myself to market. If you don't believe in me based on my behavior, then you're absolutely not going to believe in the product. And that's why we can achieve such a high level of behavioral modification and weave so much emotional intelligence into the curriculum, in addition to all the other cool engineering and entrepreneurial and marketing and advertising stuff, the vocabulary building, all of the 21st century. That's why we can do so much, because we're the only entrepreneurial program that takes the stance that you are selling yourself, that you have to reinvent yourself as the new CEO of this company. And so like Ralph Lauren, when people buy a Ralph Lauren t-shirt or a Ralph Lauren polo shirt, they're really buying the style and the lifestyle of Ralph Lauren. And that's what makes this such a good tool for behavioral modification and emotion. That's what makes it such a good mentoring tool. Now, in addition to that, once the kids start telling their friends, hey, if we can get some cash prizes and we can teach the kids to start going out and actually making money and selling stuff and making money for real, they will start to recruit their friends. And you go on the website, you can see the little girl saying, I recruited my friends to this class. That's how it starts to balloon, because the kids realize that what they're learning is what real corporate CEOs use to run their companies. And they're like, this is real. We're really starting a company. And they get excited and they recruit their friends into the C-suite, right? The CEO, the CFO, the chief marketing officer, and they say, come, I want you to be on my team in my company, because I'm really going to start making my own tech firm or my own textile firm or my own marketing firm, right? And they want their friends to be in their company with them. So they then recruit their friends, and that's how they don't want to miss a class, because they take this very serious. Our kids today want to be a boss. They want to get the bag more than anything else on earth. Right? So if they realize, which they always do, that, hey, this is serious, and they start watching the Bloomberg channel and hear the same thing they're learning in the class, they see the CEO of NVIDIA or Walmart using the same language, they're like, this is real, and that's why they don't want to miss out on it, because remember, they want this more than anything else. So that's how we can do three things: behavioral modification to the extreme, attendance, and recruiting. That's basically how we do it. Now, when teachers say, hey, what are the kids going to learn? And, want to look into the curriculum, this is me just breaking down the curriculum so you can see all the things that the kids walk away with: innovation, design, engineering. We break it down into almost 3 categories: the scientist who discovers, the engineer who engineers stuff in the middle, and the salesperson who sells based on value. And people, I'm an engineer, but I worked as a sales engineer, and how should you put it? Every salesperson will tell you people don't buy on price, they buy on value. So if you don't have an understanding of what value is, how are you ever going to discover it, engineer it, and sell it? You're not. You're going to have to work for people that know what value is and how to do those 3 things. And if we can teach our kids to do those 3 things, including see and discover and engineer value in themselves as a product, then we have done our job. We have done our job, right? That's what any successful billionaire CEO that creates these disruptors that I talk about on the website, they can do that. They can all do that in their sleep repeatedly. Right. And that's what, if we can do that, our kids will be the CEOs of their own companies, and they will create businesses in our communities. And that's really, in my opinion, that's the true value of education. That's the promise of education: small to medium sized to hopefully large enterprise businesses owned by your kids. And these are the tools. These are the tools that the kids are going to use to do all of these things that we just talked about. Without these tools, we could never do this. These tools allow us to fast forward and get the kids up to speed in a very short amount of time. If they went the route that I went with traditional engineering and they had to get drilled and beaten up on it, it would take 4 to 5 years. But we're cutting through to the basic essentials of technology, science internationally to make disruptors and unicorns, and giving them simplified tools that are at their level where they can use, and then later on they can explore these tools in other disciplines, whether in marketing or in science, in biology or investment banking or criminal justice. Every industry uses these tools. Every industry. So what we do is we give the kids the tools, these watered down tools to make this money machine that we've described, and then we show them similar tools in other industries and show them how to use them. And that's when they're really dangerous. And these are how the tools work. Now, Coach Harris, this is the actual tool that we use to teach the kids how to invent stuff. Right? It's called reverse engineering, and it's a very powerful skill set for engineers to have. Like, companies will take other companies, their competitors' products, and reverse engineer them. And you see, they have it consists of the scientist who discovers and the engineer who creates. And it's called a logic statement. The irony of here is that in my travels, I spoke to all sorts of teachers and educators with master's degrees. And they said, yeah, when we got our master's degree in education, they taught us about the most famous logic statement of all, the if-then logic statement. It's the basis of probably 90% of computer coding. Now, why would a computer coding logic statement be taught in a psychology class? The reason is simple. It's used to reinvent yourself. All right. So we have a logic statement that I created. I'm an engineer. I don't know if I said that. I'm an engineer. And I created this logic statement that your kids can basically reverse engineer any product. And I know that sounds lofty and almost too fantastical to be true, but we do it. And when you see the kids on the website, you see their level of excitement. It's because I've taught them how to use this thing. But we not only teach them how to reverse engineer products to make products better or newer, we teach them how to reinvent or re-engineer themselves and bring themselves to market, just like the Apple Watch or the iPhone or anything. So they start to see themselves as a product that they have to sell with all of the value propositions to bring it to market on time, right? And we tell, when we train the teachers, we tell them, you are a sales engineer. You're engineering human products and selling them to the world, into colleges or companies that are going to hire them. You guys are sales engineers just like me. Right? So this is why the kids, we in black people, we say sometimes, don't get brand new. We do the opposite. In our class, we say, yeah, you need to get brand new. You're going to create a brand new product, and you're going to re-engineer yourself, and you're going to get brand. So all the movies and everything, they hear this theme, this common theme throughout all of the movies and everything else, and it gives them license, if we do this long enough, for them to. Now that behavior includes graduating on time, who you hang out with, how you walk, how you talk, how you speak. Are you sagging your pants, right? Who's going to buy you on a national scale enough to give you billions of dollars if you invent a new diamond and you go on television sagging your pants? You're not going to sell any diamonds. You're going to have to re-engineer your behavior. So we teach them that they have to re-engineer themselves, and then we teach them exactly what parts of their behavior they have to re-engineer. So that's why this is so heavy on behavioral modification, right? And that's why it's such a unique mentoring tool, because not only is it giving you the engineering, the entrepreneurship, which the kids want, but the mentoring and behavioral modification and emotional intelligence that's required to bring your product and yourself to market. And that's no other entrepreneurial program in the country is doing that. Nobody. We're the only one. Now here's the bedrock of the entire program. Everything basically stems from this, and it's basically what I discussed earlier. Warren Buffett, the greatest value investor in the history of the stock market, this is what he uses, and this is what we use to basically teach kids to be scientists, engineers, and entrepreneurs. And the quickly, success in the world of in this on this level is about discovering value, inventing it, engineering it, and then selling it all over the world. And how are you going to do that? How are you going to be able to invest in valuations and stock valuations, add value to society, if you have no understanding of what value is? And most of the programs that we compete with, they don't know. They don't know on this level, this granular level. And everything stems from this. Everything is value. If you don't understand what value is, how could you be expected to discover it, create it, and sell it? You can't. And so without this, the formula would be worthless. And this is really what differentiates us from everyone else. This is the core of it. This is the foundation of the formula. Now, when we talk about entrepreneurship and the C-suite, the chief information officer, chief financial or chief executive officer, right, and designing business models, it's one thing to come up with an idea for a new product, but how are you going to sell it? How are you going to sell it on a national scale? And that requires the CEO to come up with an amazing business model. The chief marketing officer with incredible marketing helps to do that, to sell this amazing product all over the world. This is where we engineer business models, right? And just before, if you think, hey, this is just some figure art, to the left, we have a model for the successful manufacturing of water. So when I talk about exploring models and exploring these tools in other disciplines, this is an example of it. And with this, after the kids come up with their idea, in this instance, somebody uses Icy Hot as their product. That's the product that they're selling. This is an endorsement deal using Shaquille O'Neal, but you have to understand the elements of the model. Like, to create water, you can close your eyes, you have 2 pieces of hydrogen, 1 piece of oxygen, poof, you got water. We're saying that we have a model where you close your eyes, you have different pieces of the elements that I'm not going to disclose right now of this model, and poof, you got money, right? You have a money machine. This is the engine, this is the piston in this circular motion of a money machine that grows organically into a lifestyle brand. So this is how we talk to the kids. But just so you don't think this is picture art, I just want to say that this is how we break kids into understanding how important modeling is, right? And how important they are, and why their behavior is critically important, because in the middle of this model is the CEO. And this is why we talk about socio-economic behavior. So in the middle, so the kids are going to be able to see how their behavior in the context of this model, dictates how fast this model spins around and produces money. And if they want their money machine to go faster, they have to alter their behavior. This is why the kids do whatever I say behaviorally, because they see it, they tie behavior to money. And we can explore all sorts of models. In every industry there's models. The more models and formulas you have, the more valuable the education. And in terms of risk, if you can have a model and a mathematical formula, that's the only cure humanity has for risk in the world. And in this class, your kids get both. And last but not least, this is the formula. It's, we can basically show the kids how the formula works and how we can chart it. These charts are critically important. Every aspect of college, every industry deals with charts, so the kids understand that speed and charting and money go together, and how their behavior ties into these different charts. So when you watch the Bloomberg channel, they always talk about, let's look at the chart. Well, your kids would understand that. In elementary school and junior high school, we can break it down, and we can show them how this formula, which is essentially a speedometer, tracks how fast their money machine produces capital, and they will do anything to make sure that their money machine is moving faster than the competition, because it's simple. We've turned math into a picture book.